Secretary for the Department of Children and Families and previously worked as a state public defender and as an attorney for Legal Action of Wisconsin. We also have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as a division administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. Finally, we have board member Reverend John McVicker Sr., who is the founding pastor of Christ the King Baptist Church in Milwaukee. He additionally serves as the board chairman for King's Academy Christian School and is an associate chaplain for the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department. So I will just turn to a couple of housekeeping items. The first thing is that this hearing is being live streamed today via Wisconsin Eye and on YouTube. So we'll ask you to mute yourselves and keep your video off until we are ready to hear from you. That will just allow us to make sure we have good audio quality and that the board can focus on the person who is presenting. If you do run into any tech issues with Zoom, don't worry. Someone from my team will give you a call, we'll sort it out. And if we need to come back to you in order to have functional tech, we will. Otherwise, we will call people up in the order listed on the agenda and in the open meetings notice. We'll spend about 5 minutes with each applicant, and we'll ask you to spend the first 3 minutes or so answering the questions that you were sent in advance. As a reminder, those are just to give us a brief summary of your offenses and how your sentence went, a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence, including community involvement, volunteer work, any employment. And finally, a brief statement about why you think you should receive a pardon from the governor and why you're seeking one today. After that, the board may or may not ask you questions with kind of the remaining 2 minutes of your time. Please don't read into it one way or another. If we do or don't have questions, sometimes everything is answered based on your written materials and your presentation today. But if not, we want to make sure that we do get to those questions so that the board has all the information needed in order to make a recommendation. Once we're done with questions, you are welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. You do not need to stay on today. You will hear either way about the outcome of today's hearing in about a month or two from our office, so you will not get an answer today. Once everyone has been heard by the board will move into closed session and decide whether or not to recommend your application for a pardon to the governor. You need majority support of the board members present in order for your application to be sent to the governor. He will then decide to accept or reject your application for a pardon. And again, either way, you'll hear about a month or two from today on the outcome of that process. So we will go ahead and get started with our first applicant of the afternoon session, which is Mr. Steven Stadler. Mr. Stadler, if you're on the Zoom, we'll turn it over to you. Sounds good. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Hi, my name is Steve Stadler, and I am here today because I participated in 3 crimes in 1997 when I was 17 years old. Burglary of dwelling, which was a felony charge. Burglary of dwelling, felony charge, which was dismissed. And theft of movable property, which was a misdemeanor. The judge had ordered me to 4 months of Huber, which I had served with a full-time job. 5 years of probation and restitution. So I paid my restitution and everyone that was involved so I could get off probation early. He also ordered me to get my HSED, which I also did. So I completed all requirements and was granted early discharge from probation on 8/26 of 2002. So I am now 44 years old. I maintain a stable employment and have owned my own business since 2010. I maintain a stable family life. I've been in a relationship with my wife for 26 years, married for almost 18 years, and we have 2 living children and suffered the loss of our 3rd through stillbirth. So as a family, we actively contribute to the United Way Foundation, SMA charity events, Girl Scouts, and Food for Families. I am often counted on by my neighbors and family when in need of help, and I maintain very good credit and pay my taxes. So I'm asking for this pardon because I was a kid at the time and I participated in something I'm not proud of, and I learned my lesson. I have not been in trouble since. I turned my life into something that contributes to society. I now worry that I could lose opportunities for work because of my record, or it could affect my ability to volunteer for my kids and their activities. So I'm asking you to consider my request for pardon so I can continue to contribute to society in new ways and continue with my business without being judged for my past, as well as travel to Canada with my wife on her business trips. And that's it. And I'd like to thank all you guys and also the governor for this opportunity.
And I'm muted. Thank you, Mr. Stadler. I appreciate that. Any questions from the board for Mr. Stadler? None? All right, I think you covered it. Thank you very much for your time today, Mr. Stadler, and hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Our next applicant is Miss Lafa Ballard-Coley, who I do believe I saw on the Zoom. Miss Ballard-Coley? Okay, we can see you, can't quite hear you, but it looks like you're telling us that you're working on that. We still can't hear you, no. Do you have headphones maybe that are connected?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, there we go. Perfect. Well, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Lafa Ballard-Coley. My offense took place when I was 33, 34 years old. It was during a time when I was a single parent, and I was asked that I want to make some quick money during Christmas time, and I didn't have a job. That is no, looking back over it, that is no reason for doing what I did. My offense was, it's a felony. It's, I don't know the name of it, but it's when you cash a check that doesn't belong to you. And that's what I did. I was giving probation. I finished my probation early because I had signed myself up into school, and I was in school. I haven't been in any trouble since then. And right at this moment, I am 66 years old. I am working at Destiny High School. I'm retired from MPS school. I went to college. I have 3 master's degrees in education, family studies, and curriculum and instruction. I'm still employed. I'm a homeowner. My daughter has been in college, also helped put her through college. I am married. I haven't been married that long, only 9 years. And I am a Christian, and I do work in my church, and also I've been a Girl Scout leader. I just want to be able to not be judged about my past when people look at my record is my reasoning for wanting a pardon. And my other reason for wanting a pardon is because I would like to open up a school from K3 to all the way to just to 3rd grade, because I find that in my teachings, I have worked in Head Start before, and early education, early education, like K3, K4. I find that when children do not understand the basics, they will give you more problems in a classroom than if they know how the basics and are willing to more continue to learn. I see by me working in a high school right now that I'm looking at ninth graders, 10th graders, that a lot of them cannot read. A lot of them come here and they, a lot of don't know the basic sight words. And I think that's a problem. And I think if you start from the beginning, giving them the basics, what they need is much easier for them to learn. And it's easier for a teacher in the classroom to be able to teach.
Thank you, Ms. Ballard-Coley. I just want to see if there are any questions for you from the board. Any questions for Ms. Ballard-Coley? No? All right. I think that answers everything for us then. We really appreciate you taking the time to come this morning and this afternoon and share your story with us, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Of course. Thank you. All right. Our next applicant is Mr. Russell Durant, who I know I saw in the Zoom. Mr. Durant, if you're able to hear me, we are ready to hear from you. Mr. Durant, I see your square on the Zoom, but if you are talking, we cannot hear you and we cannot see you. Okay. Oh. Looks like a little bit of progress. Okay, we can see you. We can't hear you. I'm going to ask one of my team members to prompt you to unmute because it just looks like you're muted in the Zoom. We still can't hear you, Mr. Durant. You should be getting. Okay, looks like we're gonna have someone give you a call. We're having some other sort of issue with audio. So I'll tell you what, someone will reach out very quickly and we will come back to you as soon as we get that issue resolved. So in the meantime, we will go to Mr. Edward Johnson. Mr. Johnson, I see you in the Zoom. You can unmute and turn on your video. We will get started with you. There we are.
Can you guys hear me?
Perfect.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Edward Johnson. I got like 5 criminal charges here, so I'm gonna just kind of go through the synopsis real quick. Party to the crime was the first one. I was 17, got waived to the adult court, did the time in Ethan Allen School for Boys, and I got a probation or supervision for that. Once I got out from that, I got a possession of a firearm by a felon, carrying a concealed weapon. I got 14 months in prison time for that. It's about 19. And the other one was escape. When I got out from the carrying a concealed weapon, I was in a group home. Ran away to try to see if I could find my daughter that was missing. Her mother was missing while I was in prison. And I thought I wasn't going to get in trouble for it because I thought it was like juvenile group homes. They catch you and send you back. I had did find her, and once I got caught, the judge explained to me that it was 5 years escaped and it wasn't a kiddie thing anymore. After that, I calmed down a little bit, but then I caught 2 charges of possession with the intent to sell cocaine, crack cocaine. That time in jail, I was an adult then, 34-ish, 35, and I completed a program at Stanley, CGIP, which changed my life. We had to write stories about what we did. We couldn't include anyone else, and it just kind of gave you a mirror to what I was doing wrong in my life. I also did Chippewa Falls. I had to do ALDA program. And once I got done with that program, I put in for Act 28, I believe it was, and I got released early from the judge and Final Act 8 months early. After that, I started working at PPG, started changing my friends, things of that nature. PPG kind of was my first real job. A lot of money, a lot of overtime, just changed the outlook I had in life. Earlier in my years, I always had this, the world didn't care about me, I didn't care about the world. And I started meeting people, and that was different at that time, as you know, starting in 2012. Went through a phase, I started my own trucking company, it was going good. Then I started working at S.C. Johnson. Worked there for a little bit, and then I got into the mentoring in Kenosha for Bros First. And had to go through the board of Children's and Family to get passed to work there. And once I got granted that I was rehabilitated, that was a good thing. The guy that I was working for was kind of like losing his hands on the job. So I wound up leaving there, and I'm back at SC Johnson. I still have opportunity to go work in Kenosha as a mentor, but I was told that maybe I should look into counseling. So I was doing at school for to go to be a licensed therapist at Capella. Took a break because I am learning retraining at SC Johnson. It's in a lot of explosive stuff, so I didn't want to be overpowering myself for training at SC Johnson and doing the school work, but I will be going back for that. So I'm looking to get a pardon. I think it completes me. I think I didn't realize I was doing so good, and I'm around people. I got good energy. But when I went to go move into a different apartment, more of a luxury apartment, I had the money, I had the credit. And when the crime popped up, you know, they was like, no, we don't allow felons to live here. I'm so sorry. And I guess it woke me up a little bit that I wasn't fully complete. And even though I feel good at where I'm at in life. Like, with the pardon or not without, I think I've been trucking along real good. I exert energy. I know I can go work in Kenosha and help those kids, and eventually back here in Milwaukee, because it's just a lot of problems here in Milwaukee with the youth, and I would like to be a part of that. But if I can get a pardon, it will probably eliminate a lot of the paperwork going through that. So that would be one of the reasons. And the other reason would be able to just, if I want to move into a luxury apartment, I can, and wouldn't be looked at about my criminal history, which I believe is not where I'm at anymore. That's
Mr. Johnson, I want to open it up to questions from the board.
Okay.
I have questions for Mr. Johnson. All right, one from me, I think,
Okay.
which is just Mr. Johnson, you know, looking at the timeline here, some of these crimes are when you're very young, right? And then there is a bit of a break. But the last felony that you're seeking a pardon for is from 2009. You talked about the challenge incarceration program, or the CGIP thing. What is that? Is that what you would attribute the change to, or what else really changed in your life that kind of?
That was a big part of it, because it was, you know, I was like older, and now I can comprehend what I was doing. Like, I was hurting my community, and even though you thinking that you're not, because you don't really see the outside of it, but I think I woke up to seeing that. But it was also my 2 children and my grandkids. They were very disappointed and sad when I got the 4 years in, and and to them, they were teenagers at that time, and they 4 years seemed like a long time to them. And and I had a grandkid and things of that nature, and now I have 4. My youngest daughter lives with me, but she's about to get her own apartment. And just sometimes the grandbaby, just I couldn't imagine going back to not seeing that. And I'm trying to show that, if you work hard and you hang around the right people, everything can kind of equal out. So that was a big part of it, more of the CGIP program, and also the ALDA, in there talking to people that was on the drugs that I was selling that I thought wasn't really hurting no one. And it wakes you up. It really does. And family as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any other questions? No, okay. Seeing none, looks like Mr. Durant is not quite ready yet, but we will go ahead and hear from our next applicant. So
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Johnson. You're free to enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. Our next applicant then is Unice Lewis, who I believe, yes, is with us. Miss Lewis, there we are.
Hi, I have a name change. It's Unice Mckinney now, so
McKean,
Mckinney, Mckennie.
great, thank you. We'll turn it over to you.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry, we'll turn it over to you.
Oh, okay. So hi, I'm Unice McKinney. At the time that I received my felony, I was 27 years old, and I took someone to a check cashing place to cash a check. I didn't know the check was stolen. I sat in the car all the time while the person was in there cashing the check. I got charged with uttering and forgery. At that time, I was young. I didn't know about how the law works. So I ended up getting 2 years probation. Finished my probation early. Paid off the restitution fee. And from there, I just been living my life with my children. I have 3 grown daughters, 7 grandkids. I've been working for the Madison School District for close to 30 years. And I'm an active member in my church. And the reason why I want a pardon is because my kids and my grandkids planning a trip to go out of the country. I have my passport, but I know some countries you can't enter that country with the felony. So I went through the process of filling out my application and doing the stuff and asking for a pardon because I want to be able to travel with my grandkids and my kids so that they'll have memories of us doing things, going out of the country and having fun and just all around the board, just being with my family. Very family oriented. And the reason why I want to be pardoned because I just don't like having a felony. I didn't like it then. I still don't like it, even though I'm 56 years old. I don't believe it has ever stopped me from getting an apartment or getting a job. I'll be graduating from Upper Iowa College. Went to school for psychology, which is my major. My minor is criminal justice. So just looking to show my kids that even though I had the felony, my kids just found out I had a felony about 4 years ago. Never shared that with them. And I just want to show them that even though what happened, I was still able to turn it around. I didn't waddle in what had happened. I thought about it all the time. And when I got the chance to do this, I had never heard of getting a pardon or getting your record expunged or none of that until some years ago. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. I kept saying I'm going to do it. And then I didn't do it. And then when it came up this last time at the Urban League, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see just how far I can go with this. And just to go through the process was amazing for me. So it's like, I just want to show my kids that it's better things and other things out here that you can do.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. I just want to see if there are any questions from my fellow board members. No, all right, Ms. McKinney, I will just note, it looks like the judge who reviewed your application from the county that you were sentenced in supports your application for a pardon. So I hope that that at least makes you feel good, if nothing else today. That is always nice to see. So thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Our next applicant is Jonathan Orosco, who I believe may be one of our phones. Yes, there we are. All right, Mr. Orosco, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, I was sentenced for burglary of a dwelling back in 2006. Was 18 years old when it happened, and I did 60 days in county jail, 3 years probation, and served all that time in there, and kind of really thought it's not a place I wanted to be at 18 years old. First time ever getting in trouble. Never got in trouble since then. I have a full-time employment. Been working for the shipyard up here in Marinette for 9 years. I volunteer with a local dog rescue, do transports. Every 3 months, I go down to Arkansas, pick up dogs, and come back to Wisconsin. I feel like I should receive a pardon, just to be able to go more places than just staying in the States, and be able to take my son hunting. Been married for 5 years. We have a 1.5-year-old and a 12-year-old. I think that's it.
Okay, well, we'll see if we have questions for you. I just have one before I open up to the rest of the board, which is looking at your record. I see that there is a domestic abuse conviction from 2013. Could you tell us a little bit about what was going on there?
That was with a girlfriend that we were drinking, and we got into argument outside of our house, and the cop showed up. No one pressed charges, but the DA pursued the case, and the outcome of that was no jail time. The judge said he doesn't know why they pursued it.
Got it. So was it strictly a verbal altercation?
Yes. It was just pretty much yelling outside, and one of the neighbors called.
Got it. Other questions from board members? Cindy?
Yeah, can I just follow on that? It looks like you were also convicted of a criminal damage to property.
That was another time that I was trying to get into the garage, and I just broke the door in.
Trying to get in whose garage?
My apartment, the house I was living in.
So, I mean, you're convicted of 2 misdemeanors, disorderly conduct and a criminal damage to property. So what did you do to get those convictions? What were your behaviors?
I was drinking at the time and got in a fight with the girlfriend at the time, with the same girl with both cases.
And you damaged her property?
No, it was an apartment that we lived in.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Orosco? No, all right. Thank you for your time this afternoon. And as you probably heard me mention other folks, you don't need to hang out in the Zoom. You are free to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for today.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you. All right, our next applicant is Starvos Williams. Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams, are you with us in the Zoom?
Yes, can you hear me?
Ah, there we go. Yes, we can hear you. We can't see you.
1 second. It's telling me to allow Zoom to access the camera. I'm trying to do it now.
Okay, we'll just give you a minute and see if we can get it figured out.
Okay.
Tell you what, Mr. Williams, it looks like we've got Mr. Durant back, so why don't we give you a few minutes to try to troubleshoot your camera? If we can't get it figured out, we'll go ahead and do it audio only, but we'll give you a little time while we do another applicant and come back to you, okay? All right, Mr. Durant, I hear that you are now connected by phone, so why don't we go ahead and proceed with you? Mr. Durant, are you able to hear me?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. All right, we'll turn it over to you.
Good. Okay, so in 1991, I was convicted of 3 counts of accessory to burglary. And I'm looking to get a pardon because I'm actively applying for a promotion at my job that I've been with for the same company for 17 years, 17 plus years. And I'm and I haven't had any situations with the police except for I did have a DV, domestic violence with my wife 4 years ago now, and it was a harassment charge that was dismissed after I went through domestic violence classes. We had an argument, and she got scared, and her sister advised her to go to the police department. And she and my daughter went to file a harassment charge. We've been married for 26 years, almost 26 years, I'm sorry. And we are actively together now. And I'm, like I said, I'm looking to get the felony charge dropped or pardoned to get in case they run my background. And also, it's been 32 years. It's been hanging over my head for that long. And I've been actively serving the community as a service provider for the homeless for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, serving meals. Also, for a few years, I collected children to help with the feeding of them. I really can't think of anything else.
Mr. Durant, and we'll just turn to questions from the board. Cindy?
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Durant. As part of the pardon application process, it's not required, but people are encouraged to submit letters of support for their pardon application, and you did not submit any letters. Can you tell us why not?
I don't really have anybody besides my wife that could, because I could have had a work one done, but I don't really need them to know that, unless they were to run my background, that I am a felon. So that's why I didn't do it. I don't have anybody. I guess I don't.
Thank you.
Mr. Durant, you listed in your application materials that you completed alcohol and domestic violence treatment. Was that related to your deferred prosecution agreement from 2020 that you mentioned, or was that something separate that you did on your own?
The domestic was in 2020. The alcohol was part of my probation. But as I said, I forgot to mention that I was convicted of 9 months in jail and 10 years probation. Part of my probation was to successfully complete alcohol treatment and also successfully complete my high school diploma, which I completed both of them.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Durant? No, all right. That is all from us. Thank you very much, Mr. Durant. Thank you for joining us, and you're welcome to go enjoy the rest of your day. You do not need to hang out on the Zoom.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. I think we will try again with Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, are you able to turn on your video? Okay, video, and can we hear you?
Yes.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we will turn it over to you.
Hello, my name is Starvos Williams. I made a mistake in my life back in 2006. I was convicted of intent to deliver THC and designer drug. I've served 18 months in the state penitentiary. When I got out, I worked 2 jobs. Didn't really have much time for my daughter, who was born while I was in prison. So I decided to go to cosmetology school. That and one other reason was I couldn't afford a haircut. So instead of me, giving my life back to the streets, I decided to learn how to cut my own hair. So I went to cosmetology school. I also graduated from there 2010. Since then, I have been self-employed. I have 2 other kids. Well, counting 3, but I have 2 biological kids. One, I believe, one was mine, but I thought was mine, and then find out he wasn't until his mother passed away. And so now I just still take on that responsibility. It's been hard for me to find housing in decent areas because I have that felony hanging over my head. I pretty much would just like to somehow overcome this so I can move forward my life and also raise my little boys and my daughter. I just want to be a better role model. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Before I open it to the rest of the board for questions, I have one for you. You mentioned being self-employed. Was that at a car dealership that you owned?
Yes, I own a car dealership, and I also was a barber, but now I own a car dealership.
Got it. And looking at our records, it looks like your Department of Transportation dealer license was revoked in 2022. Is that still the case?
Yes. So it's been reinstated. I had employee who was doing some illegal activities from dealers to dealers, wholesale dealers to retail dealers. She was stamping my name on the back of titles and going to another place that got shut down, which was Hard Auto, and they were registering the cars there. And I end up going to court for it and end up getting my license back reinstated.
Can you tell me when it
Because
was
they
reinstated?
knew it was reinstated last month on the 16th.
Last month? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then my other question for you is, we have access to unemployment compensation benefit warrants, but it can sometimes be hard to line them up with people's birth dates. Do you know if you have any unemployment compensation benefit issues that are outstanding?
Not at the moment, I don't, but if I do, I will take care of that.
You say not at the moment.
But-
Did you have one in the past that you think is taken care of?
I believe so. I'm not sure. I can check into it just to make sure.
Okay, okay. Other questions from the board? No, all right. Thank you very much. I think that answers everything that we have for you, Mr. Williams, and you are welcome to enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next applicant is Brandon Coleman. Mr. Coleman, we're ready to hear from you.
Hi, can you see and hear me?
That we can. Thank you very much. We'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, pardon board. Hi. I can proceed?
We can see.
Fine. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, my name is Brandon Coleman. Back in my early 20s, I made a mistake of the sale and attempted deliver of cocaine. Typical hanging, went through a period of hanging with some of the wrong people. Never really had any trouble before, maybe a few minor offenses just with cannabis that we've had, which now here in Illinois wouldn't even be an offense. You know, I just made that one mistake, and I've never done or had any problems since then. When I was fighting my case, my first wife ended up pregnant with my oldest son, and after my sentence, I did I was sentenced to 6 months in the Huber Center, only did 4. Then I got out, I had 4 years probation. And when I got out, I just hit the ground running. Ever since then, I've just been a husband and a father, and I'm a homeowner. Probably about the most exciting thing that's been on in my life since my conviction was the divorce from my first wife. And I've been remarried ever since. My second wife for the last 10 years. I did have custody of my children from my first marriage. My oldest is 21. He's working every day. My daughter is 18. She'll be graduating. She wants to go to the military after high school. And that's pretty much it. Been working with the same job for over 10 years. Got some entrepreneurial things that my wife and I want to do, which is another reason why I want the pardon is mainly I feel like I've done any and everything anyone could ever do to prove that I'm an upstanding, law-abiding citizen. And I would like to enjoy and be able to exercise all of my rights as an upstanding, law-abiding citizen. Also, with this pardon could help with any potential downfalls or any back things that could happen with the businesses that my wife and I want to go forward through, because it's going to deal with property and things like that, and having a felony on your record could prevent things like that. So I would like to prevent any of that from happening. And that's pretty much it. I mean, for the most part, you know, I'm a short story. You know, I made a dumb mistake, and that's been it. You know, we're talking like 23 years ago, and I haven't had any hiccups or anything since, and don't plan to and don't want to. You know, life is good. You know, I don't really have any complaints. I would just like to get this scratch off my back and just move forward. You know, and I want to be like everybody else. You know.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Questions from the board for Mr. Coleman? No? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman. As I mentioned to others, you don't need to hang out on the Zoom. You're welcome to enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks for spending the time with us today.
Thank you.
All right. Our next applicant is Jonathan Burks. Mr. Burks, I know I saw you in the Zoom. All right, we can see you. And
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yes, perfect. Go ahead.
All right. I wrote something. Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Burks, and a case that I will be discussing is case number 2012CF001135, felony, party to a crime, retail theft. Myself and a few friends from the neighborhood went to a store and took some items without paying for them. We were caught. This usual behavior of mine led to me being charged with a felony because the items that were taken were over $500. I was sentenced to 1 year of probation with no jail time, which I completed successfully with a fine, which I paid in full. I paid my debt to society, and now I am humbled. Come before you asking for a pardon. First and foremost, I would like to say and express my remorse for my actions. I know and take full responsibility for my crime. I can't tell you how sorry I am, but my actions after my discretions have proven that I can be and have been an upstanding citizen. I have become a role model to not only many nieces and nephews, but to everyone who knows me and those that have been watching my every step. I have become this hardworking young man who takes pride in his job and an employee that my bosses and coworkers can count on. I have truly learned from my mistakes, and if I'm giving this much well-deserved pardon, I promise to continue to stay on the path of positivity. Not if, but when I'm given this chance, much deserved second chance, I will continue to do my best to become a man that I can look in the mirror at and be proud of. Thank you for your time and understanding, and most importantly, your willingness to forgive and hopefully pardon me. Laws and rules were put in place for a reason, and as a law-abiding citizen, I plan on following and respecting them because prison isn't an option, and having a clean record matters to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burks. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Good afternoon, Mr. Burks. So this offense happened in 2012, and then it looks like you have a retail theft from Milwaukee County in 2013 and a retail theft from Waukesha County in 2014. What were those?
The Waukesha, I was incarcerated probably for like 2.5 months. They had to investigate. So I beat that charge while being incarcerated. So I was released. Months later, they recharged me and I was going to court. Then I wanted to go to trial, but the public defender I had, he just told me to just play it out. He told me to play it out. So I just played it out to a lesser crime.
What was the behavior though? What were you charged with doing? What did you do?
Me and a friend went to a store and I left the store. The only reason why I beat it, because they reviewed the cameras. I left the store, but they said my friend left the store. So once they reviewed the cameras, it was me that left the store. So I came back and I was put in handcuffs and they had to investigate. So I had to sit in MSDF for 2.5 months until they investigate. And once I beat the charge while being incarcerated, they released me. And months later, they recharged me. So yeah, that was it.
And what was the Milwaukee County one?
The Milwaukee County one was just a bunch of friends, me and a bunch of friends going to the store, and the same crime, just hanging with the wrong crowd and got caught. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Burks? Just one for me, Mr. Burks. You had a domestic violence incident that involved a weapon but was dismissed in 2013. Could you just tell us a little bit about what happened there?
Domestic violence. I was CCW, so that case was dropped. It was dropped. Just having a weapon on me, and they searched me and they found the weapon and it was dropped.
Okay, they searched you when they showed up for a domestic violence incident?
That case, yeah.
So can you tell me what was happening that the
It
police showed up?
was a girlfriend I was with, and we just got to arguing, and pretty much that was it. And my weapon was in the car, and they found my gun, and it was dropped.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Burks? No? All right, thanks for your time today, Mr. Burks. Appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. And as I mentioned, you're free to enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thank you for spending the time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our last applicant of the afternoon is Floyd Hopkins. Mr. Hopkins, we are ready to hear from you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon. I am seeking a pardon for felony conviction of failure to pay child support. I have one biological child. I was charged with 5 different accounts, I believe, and pled guilty to all 5. The facts were what they were, and there was no need for me to dispute them. And so I pled guilty. I did 9 months in jail, 5 years probation, in which I had little to no trouble during my probational period. Since then, I am a president of a construction company and engineering company. We employ roughly 12 employees, 8 of which are felons. We employ felons right out of prison. We train them for 5 to 6 years. At that time, they are able to, as I tell them, you're able to start making me money now. So, that's my longest employee is Roosevelt, and he's been with me for nearly 16 years. And he was right from prison. Most of the employees that I trained from prison have gone on to join the union, and they are doing very well. My daughter and I, my biological daughter and I have a very good relationship. I paid out of my pocket for her college education. She went to a private school, pre-med, and I told her that I would pay for her undergrad, and I did just that. I really was hesitant to apply for the pardon. And the reason why is I am well known within the trades community, kind of a leader as a minority contractor. And most people don't know that I have a felony. At least I hope they don't know. However, that doesn't negate the fact that I do have a felony, and not just 1, but 5. And I would really like to come from underneath that shadow. We do a lot of government work, a lot of private work, And in this day and time, somebody's always looking at who you are as they do their due diligence for giving you contracts. And when that comes up a few times that it has been mentioned to me, I had to explain to him what the situation was. It's quite embarrassing. It's quite belittling, because now they're not looking at you for what your qualification is for doing the job. Now they're looking at you for a situation that has taken place in the past. And sometimes I would guess or venture that a little bit more emphasis is put on that than what the qualification is for doing the project. Or for my contemporaries who would consider partner up with me on some of these larger projects would see that and then decide not to. So that is a fear that I have. And now that I filed for the pardon, now it's back out in the public sphere, where people can see, and whereas maybe they didn't know, now they do know. So that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hopkins. Couple of questions for you, or at least one before I open it for the rest of the board. Can you tell me when you did pay off your child support arrears?
I did not pay it all the way off yet.
I see. Okay, so I saw that you had $3,000 owed still at the time of your discharge from supervision. Does that sound right?
Yes, and that was owed to the state, and I paid that.
Okay, so how much do you still owe on your child support arrears?
Honestly, I don't know, because the state tells me that it's not their responsibility. My daughter never got any assistance, so it was owed to her mother.
Okay, so was the $3,000 owed at the time of your discharge from supervision owed to your child's mother or to the state?
It was owed to, I believe, both, and that $3,000 was paid.
Okay, but you believe you have some amount outstanding?
I do.
Okay. Do you have an idea of like an estimate? I'm not looking for an exact
Well,
amount.
when I was prosecuted, I think I owed $19,000. And with interest and penalties, we were probably looking at about $80,000, I would think, if I remember correctly. It was a lot of that was interest and penalties.
Yeah, okay, so from your court paperwork, I have that you were ordered to pay almost $40,000 in child support arrears. I'm assuming that you got that down to that $3,000 by the time you were discharged from extended supervision. Is that right?
I believe so. It's been a
Okay.
long time since I was on paper. I know that I did whatever they told me to do.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the board? No? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hopkins. I appreciate your time today. And hope that you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a nice afternoon.
Thank you. All right, that was our last applicant for the afternoon session. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub A sub D and sub F for purposes of deliberations concerning specific cases before the board for the purposes of considering specific applications and considering financial, medical, social, and or personal histories of specific persons. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Cindy, do I have a second?
Second.
Nadia, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, unanimously, we will move in